Here, there's an overall sense of just tremendous peace, and I guess you're very much secluded from the rest of the world, and you're embraced by nature. Doesn't matter if it's bird life, the animals around. There's always something to see. It's an evolving painting of a landscape. You know, it can be freezing cold here in the winter. It's magnificent here in the summer, and especially when you get summer rains. Like, we're seeing this place now as good as you'll ever see it.
It's 15 years since you took the world by storm in the 2001 Test Series in India. What triggered that great form surge?
It had at least 9 seasons of first-class cricket, but not just any sort of first-class cricket, dominating the landscape of first-class cricket, whether that be state cricket or county cricket. It had a number of, behind me, this arsenal of I can do it, and I'm going to make a difference, and this is going to be my time to evolve as a cricketer and to realise my potential. And it also reeked of just growing up. You know, like, it's a daunting place. Let me tell you, walking into the MCG with 100,000 people, when all I've had to listen to my whole life is this. So, you know, it takes time to just evolve and to understand who you are as a person in that very busy landscape.
And tell us about your deal with Mahindra. How did that come about?
Well, when you look at Mahindra, it's a very natural fit, because you've got a product that's owned, operated and managed out of India. So there's that great connection back into that link between Australia and India. And then you look at my background. I mean, here we are sitting, you know, in my backyard. This land was you know, 3rd generation Hayden property that will hopefully be 10 generations. And so their agribusiness is a huge focus for them. And this has been my life and will always be a part of my life.
Mahindra is a company which fosters innovation, and you're an innovator too, weren't you? When you started batting, the big cool thing was to move back, wasn't it? But you challenged it, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm going to blame my mum for that. she loves to change things up, and she loves to, you know, be creative. That's her flair as a music and theatre teacher. But yeah, I think I learnt how to challenge a body of thinking. And I guess I had the freedom, you know, like growing up in Kingaroy here, backyard full of a cricket net. It wasn't about any particular rank or order. It was about just living what I thought was true to my own game.
So here we are, the famous Matthew Hayden backyard pitch.
Oh man, if these pieces of grass here had ears, they'd be screaming bloody murder. The afternoon battles. Yeah, we're pretty competitive. I mean, Gaz was 5 years older than me for a start, you know, so I was always a little tacker and he was terrifying. I firmly believe that every backyard shapes someone's destiny, and in cricket there's no more truism, because for me the gag was always to hit towards the onside with the nesting magpies and those 2 big pepperina trees that sat there, and so that onside play was something which naturally developed rapidly, because I used to love seeing him go over and get bombarded by the magpies. But you know, just simple things like in between the silky oak trees, playing straight, you know, was something that all those years later, when Billy Brown first sat me down and said, son, if you want to be good at opening batsman, you've got to play straight. And here I was all those years ago getting extra points, earning them, because that was the game to play down the ground.
And you're in far better shape than the old bat, but every house has got one of them. There's only about half of it went the distance. Look at that.
I reckon every kid's got a bat, several bats probably, that have had the faces busted out of them. And typical sort of most things, it's the patchwork to make sure that they last as long as they can, because they're not cheap. They weren't cheap then, they're not cheap now. I mean, goodness, look how thin that is. I mean, the bats now, the profiles are like that. You know, so you talk about a product that's evolved and changed, and yeah.
Well, Haydos, who could believe that after all these years, the stump marks are still on the wall?
I'll tell you what we have got here, Crash. We've got a very hard wicket. If we're doing the pitch report here, so there's not much grass on it, nice and flat. That's what most test wickets are like these days. We were ahead of our time, weren't we? We had our little boxes up, you know, stumps. So when night time fell, and we're getting collared by mum to come in, this is where we'd continue on playing.
And it was interesting that not every ball went where it was intended, because there's scuff marks on the roof. I'm not sure, are they bouncers gone wrong or
It
top
could have been
edges?
the old, what we call the Bundy bouncers, the hand-to-header. It was no ball, it was just fair gain. Not a broken window in here, I don't think. I think that's why I always blame on here, we're talking about onside out there. Here, offside, there was more room to hit, manipulate, strike on this side. Whereas here there was window, and of course you get out if you hit it on the full. Yeah. So being a left-hander, I always felt naturally disadvantaged. My brother's right-handed, so he's no doubt, a really good cover driver and offside player, whereas I was rubbish offside player, not a bad onside player.
But isn't that amazing? All those years later in Test cricket, your game, and probably the cut shot that you never really enjoyed that much, might have been shaped by the rule never to break the window.
Fancy seeing you here, old mate.
I just had to see it once, the famous peanut van that you spoke about all these years on tour.
I've talked a good game about it, haven't I?
Oh, absolutely. They want to be good.
Well, let's meet the bloke that created them.
Hey, look, how you going?
Yeah, well, how are you, mate?
Not bad, not bad.
I've been boasting about these things all over the world, as you know. I don't reckon any of these peanuts, this is one claim I reckon I've got over these nuts. They've never gone as far in the history of a packet of nuts all over the world, in every dressing room that you've ever seen any celebration, they've been here.
Even to India and...
They've been, bar none, everywhere.
Well, Matt told me the story of the World Cup, where every time they had a team meeting, he used to hold it up and we're going to get rid of these puppies when we win the World Cup. So he did, so that was...
There was a photo, wasn't there, of Michael Clarke reaching over the World Cup in the West Indies to get a bag of his salt and vinegar peanuts.
Absolutely pride of place up at the factory. Yeah, so.
Well, it was bribery and corruption, of course, because they're bloody good, that's what they are. That's your rudder. That one there's your rudder, so if your arm comes out there, the ball goes there. No, it's no dramas. I've definitely touched worse hands though. Go ahead, mate. Have a look at this. This is turning back the clock. Mate, this is prime biology classroom. And I would have been sitting, I reckon, dead set in the front as well.
I thought you'd be down the back. I thought you'd be a mischief maker.
My mates were down the back, but I was probably smart because I didn't want to get in trouble in class. I'd wait to get outside school to get in trouble.
You've spent a day today taking us through your early life on the farm and school. You must be so proud of your journey.
Yeah, look, it's funny when you're the one living the life that you tend not to sort of compartmentalise it as such. You're defined by cricket in a lot of ways, but I hope what I've been able to share with everyone today is the vision that each is the sum of its parts. So school life was an important part of my life. The neighbours and the farms that were adjoining us were a really important part of the culture of our family. And then the other area obviously is that sporting culture, which I've shared with you today, the family part of the life and what it really meant to me as a young boy growing up in regional Australia, loving and falling in love with the game that is cricket. So you're right, look, I'm immensely proud of my background. I'm immensely proud that the sum of all parts has equalled an unbelievable journey, and a journey that's still got some miles in the tyres as well.
It has been great fun and it's a great story. Well played, Matthew.
Crusher, always a pleasure, mate. I haven't got a bat, so I raise the hat.